So I'm hoping that this will make it easier for people to see, because should be so obvious to people. Obviously, people that are young, that can't go back, like, over 20 years ago, it's not as easy. But for everybody else, it should be easy to put this together. It's all tied to the same thing. I just posted several videos about George Soros. I've known about George Soros. He's a lunatic. He's an obvious, overt psychopath, okay? You even in that interview I posted, okay, which is a famous interview, because you can see he says straight to you, because he was 14 years old when they were taking, he's a Jew, they were taking the Jews off to the camps, okay? He knew what was going on. It shaped his personality, he said. Yeah, it did. And he no longer had empathy. I mean, you could see it in that interview. That's why he's a lunatic. He's a psychopath. He's an overt psychopath. Everybody knows this. He has been for many years. He does not, he's a billionaire. He is one of the global families. So he's at that top, or you should say low, but he's one of those families with the World Economic Forum and all of that. He's gotten so much control because he especially in Democratic cities, he funded the DAs that are in. Kim Fox in Chicago, thank God she's not going to run again, but he funded her. She's been nothing but a disgrace. She lets all the most violent criminals go. And so what George Soros has been known for doing, which is why Putin will not allow George Soros in his country. Hold on. Sorry. The reason Putin won't let him in his country is because he causes color revolutions. It's what he's known for doing. Do you want to know what a color revolution is? It's dividing black and white. That's what it is. In the case of America, it's dividing gender and all this craziness. But really what it is the black and white. So Trump has said, and this is how it all ties together. So Trump has once said that he wants to indemnify police, okay, which basically is he has recently promised to give police officers blanket protections from lawsuits he claims could upend their livelihoods. Avow some experts, experts, they're the ones that have gotten us into the mess, that some experts and civil rights advocates said is misleading because most officers are already shielded from financial liability. The problem is that officers have been slowly over time, and maybe it hasn't happened if you're in a Republican state, they've been more protected there. But like in Chicago, these people are shamed, and it's horrible what they do. It's horrible. And for decades and decades and decades, they've loved in Chicago to keep the blacks hating on the police, okay? The police do not go into the police work to go and beat up people, okay? But that George Floyd incident, okay, and they always use these. Back in the day, it was Rodney King, okay? The media, because they're controlled by that same big money, George Soros, they twist these things. They twist it. They put it in your face. They want to make you mad because it's part of the color revolution. So in 2020, when all of the hospitals in Chicago and the surrounding area decided to put out their one letter together and say, we all stand with Black Lives Matter, because it was based on the George Floyd incident, and that officer did not do anything wrong. The way they showed it was that he was strangling him and all. It was in the manual. And I don't care. The media is trying to deny that the autopsy report says that he died of a fentanyl overdose. People have showed the document of the autopsy. That cop is sitting in jail, and yet he followed the manual he was trained on, and George Floyd did not die because of him. But the media, all these people working, the hospital systems, because what are the hospitals? This is how it all ties together. What are the hospital systems doing and the education system doing? DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is that about? It's a color revolution. That is the color revolution. It's saying healthcare has been, has been so, because it's been under socialism because of Obamacare, it now operates not on evidence. It operates on a George Soros color revolution agendas because it ties to the UN. The UN ties to the World Economic Forum. Who's really behind the World Economic Forum? Your 13 families. And George Soros is one of those 13 families. That's the reason he has been able to cause so many color revolutions in countries. These people have so much money they can buy countries. Okay? So the DEI in the education system, the DEI in the healthcare system, the DEI that CNN, MSNBC, all these people want to push, and it's all part of the same, transgender, gender, it's all part of the same agenda. They're also the same people that after George Floyd, your Ilhan Omars, all these people stood with defunding the police. What do you think happens when you defund the police? There's a reason why Saul Alinsky, who Obama, through Bill Ayers, he learned the tactics. There's a reason they want to destroy the system. There's a reason they have to take the police out. And it's because, and they do it through a color revolution, is because they have to not have any law and order. We are not living in a society where there's law and order right now. We are not living in a moral society right now because we have healthcare under socialism, and that socialized medical system that the hospitals, the American Nurses Association, National Nurses United want to hold on so much to is destroying everything because it's directly tied to the color revolution. Because all of them brought in the color revolution of BLM, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is BLM? Now we have the Black Nurses Association. Now we have this segregation thing going on, and the nonsense and word salad of health disparities. All of this is a color revolution. That's what you're living under. Okay? That's why it has to be called out, because that is the George Soros tactics. Police in Chicago have gone through this their entire careers, okay? This color revolution that the Democrats have made decade after decade after decade. And I think now I think many of the bad communities in Chicago, they're rising up because they see what's happening with these illegal immigrants coming in, right? And so they've been rising up. I mean, they're going to vote for Trump. So people are seeing past this color revolution and realizing, no, these people that are pushing diversity, equity, and inclusion, they're deliberately trying to destroy this country. Yes, they are. American Nurses Association, National Nurses Unite, all of these people are tied to the UN. That's tied to the World Economic Forum, and that's your George Soros. Those are all the people that are hell-bent on the destruction of America. And for at least 2 decades, I think it's even longer, George Soros's mission has been to destroy the West. So it's unfortunate that there's so many people going along with diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's why I had hoped at this late stage they might turn from their ways and see, because this isn't hard to put together. When you call for defunding the police, you are calling for wanting to destroy the West. Because if you defund the police, then there's no law and order. So when Trump says he will protect the police so this can never happen to them again, that's needed so that law and order can, first of all, be restored, so the police are respected again. And so it puts an end to people being able to bring these color revolutions in. But the way that they did this was they got a hold of education. They already had a hold of the media. It's just a matter of paying the money for it. But they infiltrated into the education systems, into the universities first, and it's just come into the elementary. And Obamacare brought the socialized medicine in. That was really the last thing they had to get through, because for years they've wanted socialized medicine since Hillary Clinton, and they haven't been able to get it. When Obama came in, they did. So that was the last nail in the coffin. So these people all, we are in the middle of a color revolution, and everyone that's on with DEI is part of that color revolution.